Hello everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here in Uganda. It's my first trip to Uganda, and it started off very well. So I look forward to having some very fruitful conversations over the next couple of days and learning a lot more. Thanks to Ina, as she mentioned, I'm the director essentially of the Plan Vivo Foundation. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of what the foundation does, and then I'm going to pass over to our 4 projects that are represented here to give you a real flavour for how they have approached some of these challenges that Ina's just outlined. So, Plan Vivo essentially is the longest standing voluntary carbon standard. Dates back to the Scholar Tape project in 1994, so it's a fantastic horizon there, and lots of experience, lots of learning on the road. The foundation itself was set up in 2008 to separate some of the functions and oversee the standards. The standard essentially is a set of rules, a framework for developing projects, and the foundation oversees the work of these projects. Here you can see the structure. We have a board of trustees. It's a charitable foundation, non-profit. As I said, I head up the executive. Ina now is the chair of the board of trustees, and we also have a technical committee which supports a lot of the work, reviews, and all sorts of guidance around tools, development of tools. So what exactly is Plan Vivo? Why would you opt for Plan Vivo certification? I mean, it's a framework, it's a voluntary certification standard for community-based payments for existing programs. So principally focused on the voluntary carbon market space, and carbon is the metric at the centre of all the existing projects. But we are starting to see the emergence of new ideas, new environmental markets, and Plan Vivo wants to stay flexible and essentially look to certify those kind of projects as they emerge. Currently, they're all land use and forestry projects. We have very flexible requirements trying to tailor to the individual circumstances of different countries, different socio-economical contexts, legal contexts, and I think that's been a real USP of the standard over time. It's been demonstrated. As Ina also alluded to, transaction costs. I mean, transaction costs are key in this whole world. Carbon prices are not as everyone would maybe hope, and therefore, if benefit sharing is to be equitable, there's always got to be pressure on driving down transaction costs, and that's what Plan Vivo tries to do through its certification program. Clearly, to sell the credits that are produced, the Plan Vivo certificates in our case, projects have to demonstrate real and additional benefits, ecosystem benefits, climate services, and they also need to demonstrate that it's incredibly overseen, monitored, and the quantification underlies everything is also robust. So here's a quick timeline, just so you can see how the standards evolve. In '94, the Chavez project, which we're going to hear much more about in a minute, started. It started issuing the first certificates in '97 and sold these to the Formula One Association. 2003, the Trees for Global Benefits project. This was embarked upon, and Williams and a colleague, sorry, your name? Beatrice is going to talk to us about the Trees for Global Benefits project. And then the third project, Safala in Mozambique, this started in 2007. 2008, the standard was released, a new version of the standard, and the foundation created. And then by 2011, there were a further 4 projects. So by that time, there were 7 operational projects. At that point, also, we hit a milestone, and that was 1 million tonnes of CO2, or Plan Vivo certificates issued onto the registry. When I joined at the very end of 2013, the latest version of the standard was released, and this built on all sorts of stakeholder input, and the standard has evolved. And that was published, as I said, just over a year ago. And now, currently, we have 12 registered projects, and we're on the cusp of issuing 2 million tonnes of credits onto the registry. So what types of interventions are possible through Plan Vivo's system? Basically, we break it down into 4 types: ecosystem restoration, rehabilitation, prevention, ecosystem conversion, and then also land management, sort of improvements, land management. Red fits firmly in the 3rd category. There's a lot of different interventions in the 2nd category as well. So we'll see more examples of those later. Plan Vivo projects, they sort of occur in all sorts of different landscapes. This photo here is from Khasi Hills in northeastern India. And there's a heavy risk of fire, mining, also logging, and there's all sorts of different challenges that arise in that type of landscape. But obviously they're very different to this type of landscape. This is in Burkina Faso in the Sahel, and it's a reforestation effort that's underway there. Then we move on to a project in Kenya, and then looking at mangrove restoration. So this is one that started just last year, and it started issuing credits as the latest project to issue credits onto the registry. So to give you a flavour, who coordinates the Plan Vivo project? From Plan Vivo, from the Plan Vivo side, we need a long-term partner. Typically they're local NGOs with potentially international NGO support. There's a wide variety of different organisations, as you can see from some of these logos here. And as I said, we've got ample experience to really give you a flavour for what actually is involved in coordinating a project. There are obviously administration, financial, technical, and the social aspects to managing a project. And it's no small undertaking, as I'm sure many of you know. The path to certification typically takes around 18 months, 2 years, but it really does depend on each individual circumstance. It begins with a project idea note, so an outline of the idea of the project and how communities will be engaged, what type of people are engaged, what type of interventions planned, these kind of things. The operational management document, if you want to call it that, the PDD, the project design document, is the next stage, and this really is the Bible. And that includes for us what we call technical specifications. So one particular project will have various technical specifications, and that's one of the things that really sets the standard apart. The next stage of a project is obviously it's validated by a third-party expert, and then projects will register, scale up over time, and there's also a sort of periodic 5-yearly verification of those projects. Sometimes it's more frequent. Costs, a lot of people always ask me about costs. How much does this process cost? Essentially, Plan Vivo reviews documents and has massive support from volunteers. So on our technical advisory team, on our board of directors, they're all volunteers. Essentially, that enables us to keep the cost of review low. So around about $2,000 for in the PDD tech specs and validation. The third-party validation, should I say, the review was the previous one, but the actual validation visit and the report, that is conducted by an external party, so Plan Vivo doesn't take any cost from that, but that would normally cost around $5,000 to $7,000. So it totally takes the certification up to that stage to $7,000 to $10,000, I'd say. Other costs that happen once a project is generating certificates, generating credits onto the market, would be an issuance fee, and then these periodic verifications. And they are fairly substantial costs. The verification is something we are always looking to reduce and work with our projects to find new ways to do that. But it's a fixed cost beyond a lot of our control. So onto the projects, I'm just going to really quickly whiz through a couple of projects here in Africa. So the first one I just want to give you a flavour for is a red type project. So it's an ex-post project for those of you who know what that means. And it's working with a hunter-gatherer community. That's how it's around 20,000 hectares and generates around 16,000 tonnes or Plan Vivo certificates a year. It's now already at the stage of phasing up, scaling up, and it only began around 18 months ago. And here you can see a little selection of some of the corporate partners. Second project, I just want to highlight a couple of things. I think Beatrice is obviously going to talk in more detail, but the Trees for Global Benefits project here in Uganda has been probably the most successful project in terms of the sales of certificates. It's scaled up over time, and as Ian pointed out, it's vitally important, so you reduce transaction costs and keep economies of scale. And there's been all sorts of innovation and partnerships in this project, which I'm sure Beatrice is going to talk about. How exactly the ecosystem service benefits quantified? I kind of alluded before to these technical specifications, which really are the kind of backbone of a project in terms of how things are quantified and how things are monitored. Involve a baseline calculation, demonstration that the project activities are additional, that wouldn't have happened without the support of the project finance. They have a clear monitoring plan, and evidence of long-term sustainability drivers. So what I mean by that is, we don't want to create dependence on aid or on finance. We want to ensure that projects try to transition into a new form of financing themselves. So very much look to see innovation in terms of NTFP development, sustainable timber. It could be anything from micro enterprises to other aspects that will make these projects sustainable in the long term. Other aspects that are defined in the technical specifications are the risk and non-permanence, which leads to a buffer calculation, and that's managed by Plan Vivo. And obviously, any significant leakage is defined and subtracted from those calculations. The financing, again, a lot of people ask me about where does the money come from. Well, it's currently nearly all from the voluntary carbon market. The idea is that this is results-based payments. Okay? So we're not just dispersing, projects aren't just dispersing funds without having evidence of good practice on the ground. Good governance should be rewarded, good application of the ground should be rewarded. Different kinds of finance, as I said, come from the voluntary carbon market, but potentially they could come from other sources. We're seeing interest now in insetting, where companies work within their own supply chain, and that will work in a slightly different way. And then also, some funds looked at the Plan Vivo framework as a model, but actually don't want to participate in the voluntary carbon market. But essentially, the flow is from the smallholder through the project coordinator to Plan Vivo, and then credit switching into the market. In the bottom right-hand side here, you can see some of the reselling partners that we work with. So these play a fundamental role. They understand very well the ambitions of the standard and the framework. And they have very good relationships with buyers. But some projects have, ECOTRUST, for example, have very good marketing capabilities and interact directly with buyers. So they make direct sales. There's some examples there of some of these corporate supporters. Again, I just wanted to give a snapshot of the market. Plan Vivo is quite a niche, small player. When this was done, this was roughly a year ago. I think there's a new report due out by Ecosystem Marketplace. But just to give you an idea of what the retail value of these certificates is, it's around about $6.5, $6.8. And as you can see, there's only 10 projects at that time. Now we're at 12. I think it's just under 1% of the overall market. There's obviously relationships between the buyer and the project coordinator, also between the project coordinator and the foundation, and then between the foundation and the market. And each of these involves a contract. Okay? The VERPA, the Voluntary Emissions Purchase Agreement, this is the Voluntary Emissions Reduction Purchase Agreement. This is held between the buyer and the project coordinator. So when a sale is agreed in an ex-ante model, this will then lead to essentially signing up new participants on the ground, and then the activities are monitored from there on. What triggers actual issuance of credits is an annual report. So we have an annual reporting cycle. Once the annual report is approved by the foundation, then the project can issue onto the market based on the sales that it's generated. So I know I'm flying through this very quickly, but I just thought it would be good to have a quick look at what the market registry actually is. So it's an environmental market registry. It's not just carbon, it could also have water and biodiversity, and these are emerging environmental markets, which market with an I is trying to incorporate. Plan Vivo has a contract with the market to list all of its credits. And why does it do this? It's because it gives confidence to buyers, it gives transparency. Buyers are very interested in the double counting, is obviously not an issue. The only way to really ensure that is to have a third-party environmental market where everything is listed. Here, I'm not sure if you can see at the back, but you can see that each particular set of certificates or credits has a unique serial number, so these can be tracked. Okay? And also, attached to this information is information on the buyer and on the type of project, certification, the quantity of certificates. This is publicly available. And that leads me a little bit into the impact so far. I think now the totals around about 10,800 smallholder farmers through all these 12 registered Plan Vivo projects. And many, many more tens of thousands if you include the community groups which are managing, for example, protected areas. 44 projects are under some form of development, so far. We have 12 operational around about 30 countries. Fast approaching 2 million tons. It was a landmark achievement. I think ECOTRUST and AMBIO have been both issued this year, and essentially that should take us over this milestone. We estimate around about $9 million to be channeled into the rural communities so far. So I think that's where I would really like to sort of finish on. I think to sort of showcase the projects, and there's no one better than the projects themselves talking about themselves. But that hopefully gives you a bit of an overview of how Plan Vivo sees this whole system. So thank you very much. I'm going to pass over now to Elsa Esquivel and Marco Lara. These are from Chiapas. Marco, I think, is from DF, which is in central Mexico. They're going to talk a little about their experience. And being the first Plan Vivo project, I think it's very interesting their learning experience.